正大哥来了，大哥等着。
来，水来调面啊！上菜上饭。
啊，张金麦在这里，怎么在这里的？
Night after shooting, the lights of the filming set were slowly extinguished, leaving a long shadow on the studio floor. The night air began to creep in through the crack of the door, carrying the scent of the thin rain that had just subsided. The crew was busy clearing the property, while several other players had already said goodbye first. Zhang Linghe sat on a folding chair in the corner of the room, still wearing his character's costume. He was looking at a script that was already full of scribbles, but his mind drifted somewhere. Opposite her, Zhao Jinmai was conversing with the hairdresser while occasionally smiling, a smile that inexplicably made the room feel a little warmer. Home alone. That soft voice startled him. Zhao Jinmai stood in front of him, already changing into a grey hoodie and simple jeans. Her hair was left flowing naturally, in contrast to the graceful order in front of the camera earlier. Yes, the plan is so, Zhang Linghe replied as he hurriedly closed the script. Quiet for a moment. Then Zhao Jinmai, with a slightly hesitant but courageous look, said, "Then, want to leave for a while? I'm hungry, and it would be a pity to go straight home." Zhang Linghe was silent for a moment. It sounds simple, but you know the consequences. In their world, one small step outside could be the subject of great gossip. But that night, for some reason, he felt like ignoring all the unwritten rules. "Come on," he answered briefly, but in his voice there was a warmer tone than usual. Unexpected solicitation. Once out of the studio building, the night wind immediately greeted. The streets around the filming location were deserted. Only a few crew cars were left that were loading equipment. In the distance, the light of the city lights looks like small stars neatly lined up. Zhang Linghe stuffed both of his hands into his jacket pockets. "Where do you want to eat?" he asked as he glanced at Zhao Jinmai, who was walking by his side. "I was thinking. The mall is near here. They say they are open until late on weekends," he replied, tightening his hoodie. "Besides, I need some fresh air, and maybe a little shopping." "Mall?" Zhang Linghe held back a laugh. "I thought you were the type to go straight home and rest after filming. If I say, it's a kind of escape from routine, do you believe me?" Zhao Jinmai looked at him briefly, then smiled. There was something in that smile that made Zhang Linghe's steps feel lighter. They decided to take Zhang Linghe's car. Not a production car or a crew vehicle, but his personal car, black color, dark glass, without any noticeable markings. On the way, they let the music flow quietly from the radio. There were no long conversations, just a few light-hearted comments about the song playing or the streetlights they were passing by. But precisely in that silence, there is a sense of comfort that is difficult to explain. For Zhang Linghe, this was the side of Zhao Jinmai that he rarely saw, relaxed, without excessive makeup, without a camera, just a girl who wanted to enjoy the night. Trip to the mall. The mall they go to is in the city center. From the outside, the building looks magnificent, surrounded by LED billboards that showcase famous brands. Decorative lights reflect light on the road that is still wet because of rain this afternoon. As they entered the underground parking area, Zhao Jinmai spontaneously pulled the mask from his bag. "We don't want to be too flashy," he said, putting it on. Zhang Linghe nodded. He did the same, adding a black hat to cover part of his face. "If anyone recognizes, we pretend not to know each other," he joked. "Don't joke around, it will make them suspicious instead," Zhao Jinmai retorted while holding back a laugh. They exit the parking elevator towards the lobby of the mall. Despite the late start, there were still enough visitors. Young couples, families, and a group of teenagers who were busy taking pictures. The smell of toasted bread from the bakery greeted them as soon as they passed through the glass door. Zhao Jinmai glanced at the floor sign. "Eat first, then shop?" he asked. "Agreed. What do you want to eat?" That is fast but tasty. Maybe ramen," he replied. "Ramen sounds perfect." They walked to the food court on the third floor. For others, it may be just a regular dinner. But for them, it's a luxury. The opportunity to be in a public place together, without a script, without a crew, without having to pretend to be someone else. The two in the middle of the crowd. The food court was quite crowded, but not too noisy. The savory smell of ramen sauce mixes with the smell of grilled meat from the stall next door. They chose to sit in a corner, slightly hidden from the crowd, with a table facing a large window that reveals a view of the night city. Zhao Jinmai took off the mask only when their ramen arrived. Smoke rises from the bowl, giving rise to a suddenly stronger feeling of hunger. "I haven't eaten ramen outside in a long time," he said as he blew out his spoon. Zhang Linghe looked at her for a moment before joining in on the ramen. "You look like a child who gets a gift," he said. "And you are like a person who holds back words too much," Zhao Jinmai replied casually, but his eyes looked straight at her. Zhang Linghe was silent for a moment. The crowd around them seemed to fade away, leaving a small space filled only by that gaze. "Maybe. But I know there are things that are best said at the right time." "Then when is the right time?" "I don't know. Maybe. Like tonight." They ate in silence again, but now there was something different. Heavier, but hearty. Secret moments at the food court. After eating, they do not move immediately. Zhang Linghe took out the mobile phone, opened the camera, and then showed it to Zhao Jinmai. "Selfie?" he asked. Zhao Jinmai chuckled. "Are you crazy? We're in a public place." "Calm down, I have a trick," he says as he tilts his phone, setting the angle so that only two bowls of ramen are visible and a faint shadow of their faces on the glass reflection. Click. The photo is not a clear portrait, but full of stories. "You're going to keep it?" Zhao Jinmai asked. "More than that," Zhang Linghe replied as he sent the photo to her. "I'll keep it in a special folder." Their gazes meet again. No need for more words. Just a smile that harbors 1,000 things. Bookshelves and light laughter. A full stomach makes their pace more relaxed. The mall is quiet, but some shops are still open. One of them was a large bookstore that was Zhao Jinmai's attraction. Once inside, the distinctive smell of new paper immediately greeted. Zhao Jinmai walked down the fiction novel aisle, his finger touching the spine of the books as if greeting an old friend. "Do you like to read in the middle of dense filming?" Zhang Linghe asked. "Reading keeps me sane," he replied, picking up a novel. "Sometimes, the world in books is easier to understand than the real world." They sat in the reading corner, flipping through a few pages. Suddenly, Zhang Linghe found a comedy book with funny illustrations. "You have to see this," he said as he showed the page that made Zhao Jinmai laugh to the point of closing his mouth. Laughter is honest, without camera censors. To Zhang Linghe, it was worth more than any trophy. Minor incident on the escalator coming out of the bookstore, they decided to go up to the next floor. The escalator was quite quiet. There were only the two of them and one elderly couple in front. Whether it was because of the wet floor or his hasty step, Zhao Jinmai's shoe heel slipped slightly. Reflexively, Zhang Linghe held his hand, tightly, almost as if unwilling to let go. "You okay?" he asked quickly. Zhao Jinmai looked at his hand that was still clasped, then looked back at his face. "I'm fine. But you don't seem to want to let go yet." Zhang Linghe came to his senses, but he did not immediately withdraw his hand. "Maybe. I really don't want to." Escalators are constantly moving, but for them, time seems to slow down. Meaningful gift options upstairs. They found a small trinket shop. Zhang Linghe noticed Zhao Jinmai, who was looking at the animal-shaped keychain. "I think this one suits you," he said, picking up a white rabbit-shaped hanger. "Why rabbits?" "Because the rabbit symbolizes tenderness, but also courage. Just like you." Zhao Jinmai accepted it, his eyes slightly glazed. "In that case, I will also choose for you." It took a black wolf-shaped hanger. Because the wolf always protects his pack, and never abandons what is important to him. They exchanged hangers, as if it were a tacit promise. Home with a different taste, it was almost midnight when they left the mall. The streets are quiet, the cold air is piercing, but strangely no one complains. In the car, they don't talk much. The music played quietly, only the light of street lamps alternated in the window panes. Every now and then, Zhang Linghe glanced at the dozing Zhao Jinmai lightly. His head tilted slightly towards the window. He lowered the volume of the music, then quietly smiled. That night, he knew one thing: the mall was just an excuse. What he really wanted was time with her. Attached memories. They arrived at Zhao Jinmai's apartment. He woke up, a little surprised that the journey was over. "Thank you for tonight," he said as he opened the door. "Thank you too, for coming out at a time like this." "Tired," Zhang Linghe replied. Before entering, Zhao Jinmai turned around. "Linghe. Yes. If one day, people find out about us, I hope they understand that it all started on nights like this." Zhang Linghe looked at him for a long time, then nodded. "A simple evening. But it means everything." The door closed, but the smile still lingered in the minds of the two. For them, the night mall wasn't just a place. It became part of a story they would keep, perhaps for a very long time.